It's time. That's right. It's your Tuesday night adventure with with us knuckleheads. Welcome back, everybody. Matthew.
What's going on? What's happening? Glad to
Well,
be here. Glad to be back. It's time to really kick it off every week. That's what we're doing. And who do we got tonight? The Josh.
Ron.
We got
What is
AA
going on?
Ron and the Josh Griffith. That's
What's
right.
good, fellas?
What's happening? What's happening? So hey,
Y'all,
you're the special guest, but we're gonna have AA Ron introduce himself because he's
let's do
new
it.
to the Convene family. So Aaron, tell us about yourself, man.
Well, I appreciate you all having me on here. My name is Aaron Lovins. I go by AA Ron or the Tatted Texan on TikTok, official Aaron Lovins on other social media. I'm an Army combat veteran, got a platform for mental health awareness, got a small business called Chaotic Hero Apparel, trying to do what I can to end the stigma surrounding reaching out for help whenever you're struggling with any type of mental health struggles. You know, we all struggle with it, not just veterans. That's why we are Chaotic Hero Apparel. We support all of the chaotic heroes, but our mission is to end the stigma. I'm a father of 5. I'm engaged, and me and Josh, we kind of do this mental health motivational Mondays together on TikTok Live. And well, here we are with y'all fine gentlemen doing our thing tonight.
That's right. That's right.
Well, wait till you get to know us before you call us fine gentlemen.
I was gonna say,
Well,
don't say that so quickly to these two.
Yeah, Aaron, you've met me, but I got to have Doc introduce himself to you because he's Navy. So, Doc, tell
right.
Aaron who you are.
Here we go. We have to start off there, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
For
not,
the record.
I want to say before Doc goes, I want to say thank all 3 of you for your service. My brother served. I did not serve. I always told my brother he was a bigger man than me. I would not have made it through boot camp. So the 3 of you are bigger men than me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service, all 3 of you.
well, to be honest, Josh, you would have made it through Navy boot camp and Army boot camp. Probably not Marine, but we'll just leave that there.
Here we go. Here we go.
And dun. That, you know what?
Anyway.
Platform, Doc. What can we say right now? We can't even say anything right now.
All I got to say is I will send you those crayons later, Matt. However,
Right.
so I get a lot of crap for being in the Navy, but I spent 14 years with Marine Corps Infantry, my first 14 years in the Navy. So that explains why I'm as I got to watch my mouth, messed up as I am. And so I did a total of 32 years, retired about coming up on 3 years ago. And loving every second of life. I'm going to try to stay alive as long as possible to get back as much money from the government as I can.
There you go.
Get 'em.
This is raw, real truth tonight, y'all. You're not going to listen. Start with that, and then the rest of the night is all truth. I can tell
Yeah,
you.
this is going to be a good one. Josh, tell everybody who you are if they haven't met you before.
Yeah. If you haven't met me before, I'm Josh Griffith, and on all my social medias, the Josh Griffith, THEE, not to be confused with the Tatted Texan or the Josh Griffith. So I'm originally from Ohio, huge Buckeyes fan. So the Ohio State, we all know about that.
Boo.
Boo, I know. So the Ohio State, so the Josh Griffith, been, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, entrepreneur. I do insurance. I have a podcast here on Convene. And again, just like Aaron said, we do a Monday night men's motivational mental Monday, not just for men, but us too. Similar backgrounds, both preachers' kids, both blended families, both similar. We post similar things on social media. So motivation, inspiration, parenting, funny. He wears his hat frontwards. When I have one on, I wear it backwards. So it kind of works. We both have the best beards on TikTok. I'll say that. Nobody else will, but we'll say that. And it's just a good place, man. I truly enjoy, and Aaron said it last night, is having a place where men can talk, because outside of our families, sometimes you have, and we know this, for the other 2 of you on here, we know that sometimes it's just difficult for men to talk and men to open up. Well, there's no topic off limits for Aaron and I, and we really just want everybody to just, feel like they're in a safe space. And it's opened us up to, meeting him and bringing him on to this and being able to do it every Monday night. It's truly a pleasure. So that's me.
Awesome. I like it. Hey, I'll answer that question real quick. I like cherry. I like red. Question. What's my favorite crayon?
Cherry. Give me a break. Cherry, really?
It is cherry.
Yeah.
You should know that they don't come in cherry. Red, magenta. Well, take your pick. Maroon.
All right. That's it.
Oh, man.
So, hey, no, and you do have the best hair.
Thank you.
Like Jimmy says.
You do have the best hair.
About that.
I identify as a person with hair.
All right, check this out. We're going to talk about seasonal mental wellness, and again, we take on this show, we could call it mental health and everything, because that's what most people are talking about, mental health, right? But we choose to kind of go to the mental wellness side of the house. I mean, I'm a big believer that, if you're looking after yourself and you're happy with who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, that you have that wellness side. But when one thing is missing, then you're out of balance. Everybody knows I fly a helicopter for Team Penske, NASCAR, and Indy. So think about it as a car. Think about it as a car and going through the pits and all that. One tire's out of balance, one tire's flat, your whole car's not running properly, and that's just a fact. So seasonal mental wellness. What does that mean? If I ask you what it means, what does that mean to you, Josh or Aaron?
Josh, I'll let you take this one.
What am I, chopped liver over here?
Yeah, I'll take. Listen, Doc, he's not talking to you.
Yeah.
Clearly.
No, I think that seasonal mental wellness is, and I think Aaron and I touched on it last night too. But you get into this seasonal depression where those of us that have seasons where you can't go outside, you can't, maybe the sun isn't shining as long as it normally does. So we hermit ourselves inside, and, the depression starts, whether it's, hey, we usually go outside and walk, whether it's taking the dog, whether it's going to the pool, all those things that we do that are outside, we're limited on. And that, I think the walls get closed in on you, and it just feels like you're just, it's just pushing and pushing. And I think the wellness piece of that is, again, we talked about it last night, and I've talked about it, on, multiple lives or my own podcast, is how can we figure out how to stay well when mentally we're going through whatever that is. Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is it we can't get out and see family and friends? How can we combat that? And I think the wellness piece of that is, you've got to get creative. You've got to, hey, if you're going to the gym and you can't get out, what can you do at home to stay active? What can you do? I don't have a dog. I have a dog at my home in Ohio. I don't have one in Virginia. Y'all dog people are crazy. Like, it's snowing and you're happily walking your dog. Like, you're really walking it just because, like, what the heck is going on? So I think that's where people can kind of shift out of that. It's cold. They don't want to go outside. The dog needs to go, but you need to go. It's just about figuring out how you can keep the wellness, or keep your nap, that routine, even when it's cold outside and you don't want to go.
Yeah. How about you, Aaron?
Well, I guess I would have taken a little bit different thought process to it. Seasonal mental health, wellness, I guess, or, life in itself has its seasons, whether it's throughout the year, throughout, the world spinning a certain way or whatnot. But you got summertime when the kids are off of school. You got all these breaks. Having a blended family. I have kids in one location, then I have kids that live with me, bringing them together. Enjoying holidays together with the kids, and trying to figure out how to make it enjoyable for all of them and make everybody feel loved. As far as going to work and dealing with the whole work thing, or a business, this stuff weighs on your mind. And when you have time off, or the weather changes, or maybe people aren't on social media, or Life just takes its turns, and you got to adjust and overcome, because life's not going to stop for you. It's not going to stop for you. And whether you deal with the stress, anxiety, and we were talking about it last night, the balance, your balance, you want to find that balance right in the center, because if you sway too far, to one side or the other, you're going to lean towards depression. And you want to lean in towards your balance and not lean towards depression, because if you fall into that depression, those are the dark days. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us, if not all four of us here, have had some type of dark days, and those are what we try and stay away from, especially with families and kids. It's just a lot to adjust your life for.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Both of you, because if I look at myself, and then Doc, I promise we're coming to you. If I look at it, there's two sides of it. Last week I'm a Southern boy, right? So last week, all week, I was up north, up in the greater north, for flying up there for all week. And it was from -2 degrees. I'm not kidding you, -2 degrees.
Well, and you like to walk too. Like, you like to get outside.
Yeah, I do like to get outside, but I don't like to get outside in that crap. You know what I mean? And then it's hard for me, because I'm going from hotel room to hotel room, and it gets brutal. Yeah, I'm out there flying and doing the thing and going from place to place, but when that's over and I'm back at the hotel room, I have no desire to go out, none. And it's this time of year. It's cold. It's dark. It's snowing. It's you
lose all of that. You lose all the light. You lose the things that you could do outside. And it's like, what the heck? And again, getting creative is that wellness piece. And sometimes that's not easy, Matt, especially like you're talking in and out of hotels. Like, does it have a gym? Does it not have a gym? It's
right.
It's
when you go and you fly, when you're up at 4:30 in the morning and you fly, you don't feel like going to the gym when you get there at 6 o'clock at night. That's not what you feel like doing. You feel like going to get something to eat and going to your room, and it's just boring. It's brutal, But I also agree with you. I had written this down, different times of life, and I think that a lot of us go through ups and downs in different times of life, and those seasonal changes of life can be really, really hard, And I'm finding right now, I'm just being honest with you, I'm finding right now that a lot of my friends are going through this season of life change. And they're struggling, going, "Hey, what am I doing? What am I doing?"
That's because you're old.
I was going to say, that's that age dynamic too. We're not there yet, Matt. We're not there yet.
Yeah, but we're all looking up to Doc, because he's the oldest one. He's the grandfather of the daggone call right here.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. It was a great show, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
But Doc, so I want to come to you, because look, I became good friends with you on this topic right here when you were transitioning out of the Navy. 32 years in the Navy, right? And then all of a sudden you're this thing called a civilian. So talk about that, because I know that wasn't all, and for you, Aaron, probably the same thing, but for a lot of us veterans, not to exclude you there, Josh, because again, you're
I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Here, you're going to live there. You're going to go, what are you going to do? You're going through it too, So Doc, go ahead and talk about that real quick.
Well, first of all, before I go into that, I do have to say, you brought up a great point earlier. I wrote it down. I have to change the way I speak to you now. I realized that with going to hotel, I can no longer call you a prostitute. It's more like an escort now. So you moved up in the world. So congratulations. No, like you said, 32 years, I went from 1,000 miles an hour to 0, in the stroke, literally the stroke of a pen on the DD-214, and I felt that the last time I took my uniform off, I took my identity off. I didn't know who I was anymore. I'm still struggling. To this day, every day is a struggle to find out who am I? Because for my whole adult life, as a matter of fact, my whole life, because I'm a military brat. That's all I knew was the military, moving every 2 to 3 years, different duty stations, meeting new people, new schools. And then when I got in, the same thing, the cycle continued. So, and I'm not complaining about that, because I wouldn't have stayed in as long as I did if I didn't, find something out of it. But my point is that I didn't know who I was. And I went through a really, really bad depression. And I have to credit Matt with all seriousness. I have to credit him with saving my life. And the reason I say that is because he talked me into going to the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. And I'm sure you've talked about that before. I'm not going to go into depth on that, because that's not what the show's about. I didn't want to go. I was like, I don't want to be an umpire. Umpire? Really? No, those guys get yelled at all the time. Screw that. I don't want to go. Well, he talked me into it. And I retired officially on June 1st. June 10th, I was in umpire camp. So it was so fresh, it hadn't really hit me yet. Well, by the time camp was over and I met all these awesome dudes, it was just an amazing time. I got home and I put a pistol to my head. And out of the blue, a friend of both Matt, a mutual friend of Matt and mine, called me just out of the blue. And that saved my life. So,
Wow.
the reason we're doing this show, and this is the other thing I wanted to bring up, we got to come up with a better name, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just us, in general, because as soon as the word mental anything is thrown in there, people shut off, man.
True.
Yeah. It's very
True.
true.
So we got to think of something, and I don't know what the right answer is yet, but I'm sure
Well, we can
between
put it
all
out
of
to
us.
the show. We'll keep putting it out to the show to rename
keep
this
putting it
show.
out.
And we'll
But
do
I
it.
think I think the what you said, seasonal mental wellness, that wellness kind of, if the wall goes up, if you will, the wall comes down with wellness instead of health. There's that wellness there. I love that word, and how we can combat that and how we can get the word out. But I agree with you, Doc. I think one, we're glad you're here. Thank you so much for what you're doing. We're glad that Matt made that call. Thank you for your service as well. But I think you're right. People, especially men, when the word mental health comes about, it's like, nah, I'm good. And you guys, we're all men here. So it's like where we talk to our spouse, our significant other, our doctor, what of that stuff. It was ingrained in us not to do that, because we're weak, because we're, less than, we're not supposed to show feelings, whatever. But as soon as that mental health comes out, people shut down.
For sure. And it's not excluded to the veteran community, but I know for myself, there's a lot of things I haven't told my wife about my career, and I never will. There's some things that you can only share with somebody who's been there.
True.
And knows what you're going through. So it was a struggle, not only on, figuring out who I was, but my relationship took a huge hit. I mean, we still work on it every day, because things are much different. I'm not sure 100% that she really understands what all I'm going through, and how could she?
Well, I had a good friend of mine, 32 years, Doc, and this happened. We probably never even spoke about this, but I had a good friend of mine that had 32 years, was up for retirement a few months for you. And so I had that 32-year mark in my thought process, because when you've been in 32 years, Aaron will attest to this and agree with this. You've spent the majority of your life giving it to your country in the military. Well, I'm sitting here watching it build up to his change of command. He goes out, he does his last flight in the V-22. Everything's wonderful. You're seeing pictures of it, seeing video of it, they're throwing water on him. Everything's wonderful. Well, he goes to work the day of his change of command, walks in, says good morning to the duty officer, and goes right into his office, shuts the door, and takes his life. 32 years. He had a great job set up. He had a lot of things going on. And, that's just not what we want. We want to be there for people. We want to be there for people, whether you're in the military, not in the military. Life goes through its changes and its different seasons. And that's what we have to be aware of. All right, quick question. We'll start with you. We'll go to you, Aaron, on this. What do you do to ward off depression? What do you do? Amy wrote humor, journaling, exercise. What are your things? What do you do?
Well, I got a couple things that I like to do. Well, for one, I have the social media platform. I enjoy going live and being able to help other people. I enjoy making videos about how, things that are signs or, just ways to approach certain things like overthinking, anxiety, trauma from your relationships and stuff. I like to be able to help people based on the experience that I've been through myself in an interpretation that everyone will understand. Also, one of my greatest stress relievers, is going to the gym. I used to be really big into the gym, especially after getting out of the military. I got out for a while and I was like, I'm never doing PT again. And then, well, my back started hurting. It started getting weak, so I got back into the gym and it helped a lot. And I stayed in the gym for a while. But as a blue collar worker, your back is a key part in your job. So just like you, I was in and out of hotel rooms and stuff. I ain't gonna accept one of those titles he was saying earlier, but
You don't have to, Aaron. I just need to know how much.
But I was all over Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, driving. I wasn't flying, I was driving, and I was hitting different weather conditions, staying in hotel rooms with the kids back home, FaceTiming, all that stuff, so it was hard to really maintain my physical fitness. But one day I was on Fort Sam Houston here in San Antonio, Texas, working on a 50K forklift, and I slipped and tweaked my back to a point to where I've never felt that before. And I tried to work. I tried to work for a while, see if it would go away like a normal back injury, and it didn't. I had sciatica down my leg. I had to go in. I had back surgery last March. So I'm recovering from that still. I'm trying to get back into the gym because imagine a year without any type of physical exercise to the point to what I'm used to, So stress has built up. So I've found new ways to relieve that stress, and that's usually by helping other people. And that's honestly, I invested myself into our small business because I don't see any other way to go other than physical therapy right now, So, and it's coming little by little, but you find your little things that help you get through it.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. I'm getting my hip replaced because I'm old, right? But the point is I haven't worked out.
He said it, y'all. You saw it. He said it. None of us had to say that.
I am old, dog. I mean, I'm old. Look at me, I'm old. But it does weigh on you, right? When you're not, if you go work out and you're hurting, it's not much fun to go work out when you're hurting. Y'all can see me. I'm sitting here, sitting to the right because my hips hurting because I'm damn old. This is bull crap.
To the right, to the right,
to the right,
to the right, to the left.
What about you, Josh? What do you do besides driving a car for hours?
Besides driving a car for hours, I do a lot of, one of the things that I've done is, I do a lot of devotion, a lot of reading. Like that's kind of my quiet time. I have a therapist that I see every 2 weeks. Not ashamed of that. If you're in this chat or if you're listening and you don't have a therapist, sometimes that's the best way to go. Sometimes that's what you need. So Aaron and I talked about it last night too, is I try to surround myself or have surrounded myself with like-minded people so that I can just call. Obviously, Matt's a huge, he's one of my calls. There's
his co-therapist.
Matt's also a Christian counselor. He's a therapist. So Matt's my free therapist, although it costs me something because, he's still friends with me. So I don't know who's getting the better end of the deal. But, I enjoy therapy. I know that's weird to say, but sometimes talking through somebody that sees your life and your situation from a different perspective helps. I'm not a big gym guy. I was a gym guy. I just going to work out by myself is not fun to me. But I do the same thing as Aaron does is I have social media. I do that. Going live on TikTok and going live and being able to talk through things that are passionate to me. Helping others is it's crazy how helping other people, regardless of what you do, regardless of your profession, helping others can really heal and feel you, not, and listen, I think I've gotten on live one time when I have been irritated or whatever, and I heard about it. So it's the different mood. Sometimes that depression and that seasonal depression of getting, social media allows us to build a community online in our state, in our country, in the entire world, and have, millions or hundreds of thousands of therapists at a snap of a fingers. You ask a question, you're going to get all kinds of answers. So I think, helping other people through stuff. My dad said something, and then I'll let you go on to the next question. But my dad said, if you let your hurt or your struggles or your pain, if you can take that from a wound and make it a scar, whatever it is, not an open wound, not still hurting, but a scar where you can see it and it doesn't hurt anymore. It tells a story. If you can allow that scar to be a testimony to help other people, you will see how helping other people can really heal you each and every day. And that's something that I just grabbed. My dad was a pastor. Aaron and I have the same background. His dad was a minister. My dad was a minister. But my
grandfather was a minister.
Your grandfather was a minister. But it's my dad is the king of analogies. And if you guys have followed me long enough, or my kids probably be like, oh my gosh, he beats a dead horse, or he has analogies. That analogy from my dad is if it still hurts, it's a wound. And you've got to get it somehow to figure out how that's a scar. Because once it's a scar, I've broken one bone in my entire life. It's right here in this hand. That scar, you can't really see it now, but for a while it was a talking point. It was a conversation starter. So if you get somebody that's going through something and they're talking about, hey, I went through a divorce, or hey, I went through this, I went through that. And you can go, hey, I've been there. Let me talk about it. That's when it's a scar. When it doesn't hurt and doesn't affect you, it's a scar, and you can walk them through what you did do wrong, right, and then what you didn't do and wish you would have done. And just helping other people, for me, is the biggest part of that.
Yeah. Well, what's the whole purpose of Convene Communities? And the tagline is real life, real people, real experiences. And so, we all have a story. We all have somewhere we've come from. And it's our job. I think it's who we are. It's our job to lift each other up. It's our job to take our story into, collaborate and work with each other, and it goes back like this. We're all parents here. If we were sitting around a restaurant at the table and I said, hey guys, I'm going through this with one of my kids. Have y'all ever been through anything like this? What are you pulling from? You're going to pull from your stories. You're going to pull from your parenting, your real life. And that's what this is about. We all bring something to the table within Convene Communities. We all bring something. So when you come out and you throw out that trauma or that thing that you're going through, what you're going to find is people are going to rally behind you. And they're going to say, hey, I've been there before, right? I know what you're going through. I've been there before. This is how I made it through. Or they might end up saying, hey, I've been through what you're going through. Don't do what I did, because it backfired, So life is life. And we're here to pick each other up, which is important and all that. Doc, you got anything you want to add? Okay, that's good. All right,
thank you, Mr. Koresh. Be sure to be at the sermon later, Mr. Koresh. Can I call you David?
Look, listen. Let's go to Amy's next question. It says, how do we help kids when they're
Hold on. I had some things to say there, mister.
All right, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
You know what? I expect to see you in confession on Friday. The stigma, going back to what you said, therapy, and I'm really glad that you found a therapist that you like, Josh, because it's a struggle to find the right one, the one that you connect with. But more importantly, there's a stigma to the word therapy, and some of us alpha types kind of shy away from that. But I want to encourage everyone that, you don't necessarily have to see a therapist, but you do have to talk about it. And I'm a firm believer you have to continuously talk about it. That's the way to heal. And if you're not wanting to do a therapist, well, then do a little peer-to-peer counseling. Find somebody that's been through the same thing with you, or that you have been, and sit down and talk. And look at it as not a therapy session, but just two battle buddies sitting there talking.
Yep.
And you will be amazed. What's that?
Or four.
Or four, yeah. I mean, you'll be amazed at at the benefits you'll get out of that alone.
Well, we think we're walking alone, right, Doc? We think
Everybody does, yeah.
I'm the only person who could have ever been through
Ever
this.
gone through that.
Ever.
Right.
I'm the only person.
Right.
And that's not true. There's other people out there who've gone through the things that you've gone through. I mean, right here, you have 3 veterans on, right? You have 4 dads on, you know. Some of you have been married before and remarried. That's a commonality, you know. And so we always have something that we can lean on each other about.
Keep going. I'm about to hit the jackpot.
So, and it's true, you know, it's that thing. If you go back to when we were younger, all of us were younger. If you had a therapist, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
There's something wrong with you.
Something's wrong. Well, something's wrong. And I think this is why when we were, well, you were older than us, Matt, but that's okay. When Aaron and I were growing up, but I think when we were growing up, like 80s, 90s, if you had a therapist, something was wrong. Your parents weren't doing a good job.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing to talk about. So my son, we get tested, all that stuff, and everybody gets tested now. So I'm okay to talk through that. My dad called me. It was like, Josh, I'm sorry. Like that. What do you mean you're sorry? I didn't do a good job of helping you when your mom and I saw signs that this may be wrong with you or your sister or your brother or ways we could help you. Like, Dad, in the 80s and 90s, that wasn't a thing. It was like, hey, you're a rambunctious kid. You're a boy nonetheless.
Yeah,
like you're rambunctious. Go outside and play, or your sports, or do whatever. It wasn't even a thing. So yeah, you said it, Doc. Like there was something wrong with you. There was something wrong as parents because they weren't doing a good enough job. Now it's like, look, we all went through COVID. We all just went through this thing called COVID. If y'all don't got a therapist or doing peer-to-peer counseling or talking to somebody, you're in the wrong, not the rest of us that are trying to get some help or trying to better and get ourselves to back to, pre-COVID, or just at least better ourselves as far as the wellness piece goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I could go on all day about COVID because I didn't give COVID the credit that it would do to people's mental health. Really didn't.
We talked earlier about stigmas, this, that, the other, and how I said I don't like the phrase mental anything, but I've talked to folks in the past and I've told them that, listen, you have to be proactive with your mental health, with your mental wellness, just like everything else. Look at the brain as a muscle. You guys brought up the gym earlier, right? What'd you do? You went in, you work out, right? But what do you do afterwards? You got to let those muscles rest. You got to let them recover. And we tend to forget that you have to look at the brain as a muscle that way. Your well-being, if you will.
Well, it's like you got to go into the gym.
Correct.
Right? Like you don't have a membership. All of y'all, because it's getting ready to happen, right? All of y'all that had this resolution, right, to go to the gym. I'm starting 2024, going to the gym. I'm getting in shape. Your time's coming next week. And it's going to be like, this month sucked. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And you're going to quit.
Let me quit.
You can't do that with your mental wellness. You can't do that and try to do it all on your own. You just can't. You can get medicine or therapy or, spouse. You can do all of those things. But if that's still not helping you be able to stay, and Aaron and I talked about last night, if you can't get balanced with those things, 1, you need a new therapist. 2, you need a new doctor. Or 3, you need to try something else. Maybe some of the things that we're talking about, maybe the gym, maybe walking, maybe new friends, maybe new spouse, maybe new and I'm saying that's far-fetched, but
we're not advocating divorce.
No, I'm not advocating for divorce by any means. But if y'all can do those things together, whether it's a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, your kids, your best friend, whoever it is, be support to each other.
Yeah. No. It is about being, having that support network. I mean, it really, truly is knowing who you can lean on and when you can lean on them and all that, because that's so important. I think that we've gotten into this world, especially with our younger generation, and we'll flip it back over to you, Aaron. With our younger generation, I think we've gotten into this thing where we coddle them, and they don't realize that life has ups and downs. Not every day is easy in life. Not every day, not everything's going to go perfect. So what do we do? How do we handle it? Like, Amy says, how do we handle seasonal depression with our kids? But how do we just handle the ups and downs of life with our kids? and let them know that it's not easy. Life's not easy. So
I don't even know how to answer
I
that
do.
question because
Daily beatings.
Doc, no, it's 2024. That's not the answer. That was the answer when we were younger.
Oh, 24 beatings. Got it.
4 beatings a day. You can't do that now.
The hell I can't.
imagine.
I mean, you can. But
Imagine the mental health. Imagine the mental health of the children these days as they progress in age, as they get older. Because when we were younger, all of us, like you said, the beatings, nobody cared. If you went to therapy, you were wrong. Something was wrong with you. Even being in the military, the moment you mentioned that you were thinking about going to mental health, everybody looked at you like you were crazy. And so you avoided that, and you had to seek it out in the civilian world, and most people didn't. So it usually just turned into some type of acting out or depression, or you find certain people in the barracks, in their dark times, and you see the result of that because nobody wants to seek help because of the stigma. What about these kids as they get older? They're not going to understand how to deal with all of these emotions because they never had to, because all of the parents just catered to them. Everybody defended them their entire life. And now as they get older, they're going to have to learn that they got to do that themselves, but they don't know how to do it. All they know is temper tantrum, act out. I get what I want. The sense of entitlement. It's ridiculous, and it's a shame looking back at my life and how much I was unhappy with the way my life was going, because I thought I was, I really thought the abuse level was up here, but in reality, I needed some of that direction, some of that, set me straight, maybe not to the point of abuse, but the kids these days, they don't even know. My dad's generation was a lot worse than mine. Mine was, a step above, and these kids these days are just riding high, so.
yeah, and me and Doc were
And
right
good
there
luck
with
in
your
the
dad's
future.
generation, I guess, because we're old, But look,
well,
no.
go
ahead.
I think, sorry, Matt, but I'm trying to go back and forth because I'm streaming on TikTok too. But somebody said our parents made it look so easy.
Yeah.
That we thought being an adult and parenting was easy. Maybe some of us did. Maybe some of us did or didn't think that. But that was somebody's thoughts there that I'm looking back now. My parents had 3 of us by the age of 24, 25, 3 years apart. We all did sports. We all did all the things. And I don't remember my parents missing things. I know they did. I don't remember them it's just different. They made it look easy. And I'm sure they had issues then too. You had issues with people at church. You had issues at work. You had issues with, all of those things. I don't know that maybe my parents, they told me life was tough. I had to start working at 14, 15, all those things, but not everybody did that because like you said, Matt, some parents even then coddled kids. And, I have friends like that, only child, or parents coddled them or whatever. And then this generation now thinks that everything I think is just given. It's just so easily because we do that. We coddle that. We don't teach them those life skills. So when they get out of high school, it's like, hey, can I go into the real world? No, you can't. And that's some of it's on us, teachers, the system, all of that stuff. But ultimately, it's on us as parents.
Yeah.
I think you have to burst their bubble early and often. I mean, that's what I do. I told this story I think last week, but I'll relay it again because it's kind of pertinent. A little bit ago, my kids came up to me and they asked me, "Daddy, which one of you is your favorite?" And I looked at them both dead in their eyes. I said, "What makes you think I like either one of you little bastards?" My point being is that we're not here.
Dion has a favorite.
Well, we're not here to be their friends.
True.
We're here to be their parents. I don't have to like you. I just got to raise you till you're 18 and get the hell out of my... I mean, I love you so much.
True story. Well, I love you. I just don't like you all the time.
Yeah,
right.
To be your friend. If I'm going to be your friend, I'm not going to help you be the best adult that you can be.
Yeah.
You can, but there's that fine line, and not too many people can do both of those things.
Sure.
Not too many
true.
people can do that.
Yeah, I got 2 points to make real quick. Is you've heard me talk about this about I think we do an injustice in our schools nowadays because I think we talk about mental health and mental wellness all the time, and we give them mental health days off. And if you're a boy between 13 and 18, all a mental health day off means you're going to play Call of Duty and PlayStation or Xbox all day. You're not going outside. You're just going to play all day. Well, if you're going to do that, why don't you? If you're going to give a mental wellness day, why don't you bring somebody like Amy Krause into the classroom and teach them coping skills and how to deal with stress and anxiety? That's a mental wellness day. You're giving them the skills that they need. We don't do that. We say, oh, you need to go home. You need to have a day off, rest. They're not resting. There's no telling what they're doing. They're spending time on social media. They're spending time playing Xbox and PlayStation. So that's a pet peeve of mine. And I'll tell a story. I've told this before about my daughter. I'm riding with her. Everybody knows my daughter Megan is in medical school at Georgetown. Very proud of her. But here's the deal: is that I was riding home, picked her up from Thanksgiving. We're riding home in the car, and Megan says finally to me. So my kids, let me back up. Braden and Megan specifically used to call me all the time when they were in undergrad in college, and they're freaking out. Right? They're stressing out, and they're stressing out because it's exam week. And they think that week of exam week in college or whenever it is coming, their life's coming to an end. They're never going to make it to the other side of this week. It is just not good. It's over, and they're freaking out and they're, hyperventilating, not really, but their stress level's high.
Right.
And so I used to always try to talk them off the ledge, and I would be like, okay, you're going to be fine. You're going to make it to the other side. Just take a deep breath. Coping skills. I'm trying to give them coping skills to make it through. You got to take your breaks. You got to go get some exercise. You got to do all this, get your face out of the book for a little while. Eat. Yeah. Make sure to eat. Make sure to do all that. And so I'm riding in the car with Megan, and here Megan is in medical school, and she looks at me and she goes, Dad, I figured it out. And I'm like, what'd you figure out? And she goes, I figured out all of those calls that we used to have during college, when I'm so stressed out that I don't think I'm going to make it through the week and get past my exams and all that. And she said, you know what? I figured out that medical school's stressful. Right? Wow. But it's pretty.
Hello.
And the point she was making is life is stressful, and you have to just learn how to deal with and go through and have coping skills to make it to next week.
I have some
your exams, and these kids don't have that. They don't have that. It went off for her,
I've got some great advice for her.
Yeah, and
you can pass this along. You know what you call the person that graduates last in medical school, right?
Yeah,
a doctor.
There you go.
Still call her a doctor. Call him a doctor.
They may be a psychiatrist after they graduate, but whatever.
They're still a doctor.
You ready for this? There's no first or last. Medical school is pass-fail now.
Pass-fail, that's it.
Wow.
That's it. Medical school is pass-fail. Now you have to go forward and you have to, pass all your tests and your exams and all that. But it is pass-fail. Medical school, pass-fail.
Well, that's because they're getting ready to get rid of all the doctors with all the AI crap. Come on. Oh, wait. Sorry, you got to take the tinfoil hat off. Right. Sorry.
Yeah. True. Oh, man, I get hyped up. I'm getting hyped up.
I couldn't tell.
It's no, I mean, it's real. I think, when I get hyped up when we start talking about our kids. Yeah, I just do, because I think we've done them an injustice in this world.
Yeah.
I really do. What do you think about that, Aaron?
I agree 100%. A point I wanted to bring up is like my daughter has a cell phone that she is just glued to. My son also has a cell phone, but he's not glued to it, but he has a video game that he's glued to. He plays Fortnite. My daughter is starting to get into the teenage drama, she's 15. So, and it just being glued to that device all the time.
Girls are mean. They're mean. Amy? Keela?
Mean girls, man.
You said evil wrong, Matt.
All of y'all women listening,
so what your daughters are getting into?
But y'all been there too.
Man,
y'all women have been there. Y'all have been 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. There's mean girls too. You also say the same thing. I mean, dudes can I say dudes can be dicks too. Yeah. Like you can be a flat out jerk. You can be a flat out jerk. But mean girls is a real thing. Mean girls is a real thing.
Oh yeah. And I always tell her I admire her emotional intelligence. Like she's very aware of emotions around her and other people's emotions, her own emotions. The only thing is, just like any teenage girl, the moment it involves another boy or another girl, with um, thinking about dating that boy or whatever, and she's not even allowed to date, but she talks about this stuff all the time. She loses it. She loses all of that emotional intelligence. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
um, it's just something else to see my kids going through this. This is my first 15-year-old daughter, so experience
yeah.
life as a father, of a 15-year-old girl. Um,
Yeah.
Another thing is my daughter doesn't eat breakfast. She doesn't tend to eat lunch. When she does eat something, it's usually like chips. She's like Takis, and like it's always like a snack. And what people don't understand these days is a lot of our moods are based on hormones, and whether you're active, whether you eat regularly, whether you eat the right foods regularly, whether you sit there and you're glued to something emotionally intriguing, and then you just go to nothing, then you're bored, and you just lose sight of what life really is, and you're not able to control it because your hormones are all out of whack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hungry is the real angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I think you eat
it's
the wrong
a lot
stuff.
to deal with.
Yeah. Well, you put bad in, you're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to get bad out. That's not just in their friends or whatever. You eat healthy, you feel good, you act good, your mood's good, all that stuff. You start eating junk, and I think that's a teenage thing, Aaron, for sure, because man, like you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
you don't even want to eat dinner, you don't eat breakfast, you're eating like I love Takis. You said Takis, like I need some of those. But like when you snack all day long, and then it's like, hey, I only I want to eat at 10 o'clock at night. I'm hungry for a meal. No, you should have eaten throughout the day. Or, hey, I want to eat at 3 o'clock. I want to eat something. Well, that's in between. Like, where's the snack? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a teenage thing. I think and it's frustrating because you're like, hey, I'm going to make you this meal and you don't want to eat it, or you're not hungry or whatever. And then it's like, yeah, like I don't want that. You know what happens when we were growing up. You're going to eat it. You go eat it or you're not getting up.
Yeah, that's right.
Or I'm not fixing you another meal. You go to bed hungry. Like that's
Yep.
the way.
Here you go. I'm gonna take this even to the next level. Y'all ready? Is some of the stuff you're dealing with, whether you realize it yet or not, is the social media that they're on and the things that they're seeing. They want to rate. They're seeing this girl. They're seeing these people online. They're seeing all the beautiful stuff, all the beautiful girls, the skinny girls, the tall girls, all this, that, and the other. And unfortunately, with young ladies, they do have body image things that go on. They do have things that they think about. And it becomes very hard as a parent when you're sitting here watching this, because it's what they're going through.
Yeah.
Where are they seeing all these girls and ladies asking for a friend?
Doc,
that's your comedy relief right there.
That's comedy relief right there. But
Yeah.
I think, Matt, you're right. Is women and girls have it. Women have it a whole lot worse than we do. Like every single magazine you see this is the size, this is the shape of the face, this is the makeup, this is the hair. Like all of that stuff is thrown at them at the grocery store, on social media, at school, at all the things, like whole freaking Stanley Cup thing. Like listen, I feel cool if I got a Stanley Cup walking around, but all these like little girls are rolling through like they got to have a Stanley Cup. And it's bigger than that. It's body image.
You stole my thunder.
I stole your thunder?
You totally stole my thunder.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's a pressure to be perfect because that's what they see on social media. Don't get me started about the F word on social media. Woo! With that F word filters. Don't get me started on that one.
Hey.
Don't get me started on that one.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something.
I got to get my mind out of the gutter.
Yeah.
Look, what do you do when this happens? I'm going to ask y'all a situation. Just that parenting. We're all sitting around the table.
Yep.
Your daughter's a dancer. Doing wonderful. Dancer, right? You find out that because she would go to dance, and let's say they had a dance competition or whatever, and they would go all day. These dance competitions go all day, right? You find out that on purpose, the person who runs the dance studio would schedule the hardest dance for your daughter to do and her team to do after lunch. So they would not eat lunch because they didn't want to throw up.
Ooh.
Yeah, I found that out. I literally found that out. Like Megan truly didn't know. And a friend of hers who was a couple of years older, who became a dance instructor at the studio, told her, do you realize that, the lady Michelle would always schedule the hardest dance after lunch so they wouldn't eat? That's the culture.
Wow.
That's what we're doing to our young ladies and our young kids and all that.
You know what that story just made me realize?
Go whip some ass.
How dumb I am. Because I would have eaten anyway and just complained about it the whole time.
Well, that's you. That's what a boy would do.
That's what a boy would do, because we'd be like, "Oh, we're eating. Oh, we'll just throw up."
Right?
Our stomach would just hurt.
That's right.
Man, that's. Yeah,
that's true. That's a true story.
That's enough to piss me off.
How is an adult, somebody that you're supposed to trust and look up to, how is an adult doing that to a child?
Well, they clearly have issues amongst themselves first.
Well, okay. So yeah, she grew up as a dancer all the way through.
Yeah.
It's just brutal. And those are the things that you have to learn how to deal with as parents. And again, we always seem to go to parenting, don't we, Josh? But to me, it's the most important topic to me.
So,
but you said it. I mean, we've talked through this mental wellness, but we're all dads, and there's that different layer of protection and want to take care of our kids, our stepkids, our niece, nephews. There's that other layer of protection for men. So I would rather take care of my kids, stepkids, niece, nephew, whatever, make sure that they're good and, forego my own mental health. But we just said it. Aaron and I just said it. Helping other people is what fills our cup that way. And it does the same thing for you guys. So it's like, hey, how can we do that? But there ain't nothing worse than dealing with stuff like that as a parent and being able to, one, be able to use it as a teachable lesson, but also so that they come out better than they would have had we not been.
So I used to get asked, and it was like this the first couple of years of Convene. And Doc will remember this. We were doing the podcast a long time ago, that's how I ended up meeting him. But I used to get asked all the time, is Convene a mental health site? Right? That's what the stigma around it at first was.
No, it's a cult.
A good cult.
It's a good cult. We're taking care of you. It's a community cult. No, but the thing is, we would get asked that. And to your point, Aaron, your point and Josh's point, I mean, literally, I get a lot out of my talks with you guys. I get a lot out of just getting on the restream with Doc and shooting the shit, and going back and forth. That is my therapy. The platform is my therapy. And that's really, honestly, a big part of what it was made for. It was made for peer-to-peer, counseling, peer-to-peer therapy. And that's what we're here to do. Again, we're here to work with each other.
True.
All right. I've asked enough questions. What questions or comments or thoughts do you have? We're coming up on an hour. I will say this. See that donate button up in the upper left-hand corner? Hit that thing. Give Doc a couple $2 here. He does this out of the kindness of his heart. We're so lucky to have you, Doc. I really appreciate everything that you're doing.
It's a small piece of his heart. Just that kindness piece.
It's a little bit.
Very,
well,
very
some would argue that I don't have one at all. However,
you do have a heart. I do know that.
Yeah.
Let me know when you find it.
It's not a caring heart. It's just a heart that pumps blood.
Right. It's just beaten. It doesn't care or feel
well,
that stuff. It's just.
Well, speaking of old, and I'm not saying this to be rude, but Doc had a heart attack a couple years ago.
I did.
COVID.
So I got COVID. I was healthy.
Wow.
Went into got COVID, got admitted, had COVID pneumonia. And then while I was in there, I had a heart attack. Came out of the hospital as a type 2 insulin-dependent diabetic. So it's weird. So, yeah, I mean, it might be beating, you know.
It's beating.
Yeah,
What's the best thing that came out of that, though, Doc?
We're thankful it's beating.
Where is she?
She's over on her bed.
Yeah, Doc has a dog, so.
Got a service dog out of that, and best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Except her damn breath. Whew.
It's brutal.
Oh, my God. That'd knock a buzzard off a shit wagon, man, I'm telling you.
Oh, God. That's so funny.
Wow.
Aaron, welcome to the show, man. You know, I'm so glad you came on.
Yeah.
Sorry, for all the stuff we're putting you through, but we have a good time.
Fun.
Yeah,
I did have a good time. It was a pleasure being a part of this. Very interesting. Just like me and Josh discussed on our lives together, a lot of this stuff. It really kind of gives me joy to be able to discuss this stuff with other people and possibly help other people, but also it gives me some type of relief to be able to do this peer-to-peer discussion, because a lot of times you feel like you're in it alone. A lot of times you feel like you're just pouring into somebody else's cup and yours is ending up empty. And y'all feel my little bit tonight, and that's for sure. Yeah. And every Monday night with Josh, you know, it fills my cup a little bit more, and it's just nice to be able to do this with some peers.
Yeah. And before I go to you, Josh, real quick, but Amy says, where do you go? Well, obviously that's not a hard question. You go to the Convene Mental Wellness community. That's where you go. Everybody go join Convene Mental Wellness and hit that discussion board. If you're having something that's on your mind, if you're having something that you're bothered with, hit it, because you can put it in there as yourself, or you can put it in there anonymously, and you can respond as yourself or respond anonymously. So that if there's something going on, come join the mental wellness community at wellness.convenecommunities.com. Become a part of it. And, I'm trying to get AA Ron in there. You know, he's doing some great things. We want him in there. Me and Josh got the full court press on trying to make that happen. But a lot of good people in there, and we're really trying to grow something special. And you guys, Josh, you and Aaron are already out there doing great things in that space. You know, Doc's doing good things. Is always helping people out with Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy, other things that we're doing, that peer-to-peer group there. But Josh, I'll give you the floor. What do you got to say?
Yeah, I would just say I'll echo what Aaron said. One, thank you guys so much for having me on. I think that, whenever you can stream across multiple platforms, and I've got TikTok going now, and Aaron and I do this on Mondays, and Aaron said it. What people don't understand about creators, whether you're large or small, doesn't matter. If you have a cause and you want to share that said cause with other people, and in Aaron and I's case, it's the same thing. Like, let's talk mental wellness, let's talk motivation, let's talk inspiration. You've got to share that, but you also have to get your cup filled too. It's not easy being a creator of any size. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. It's not any being any of the things, a dad, a parent, all those things, but you've got to get your cup filled. And I will say, this fills my cup. My podcast every Tuesday night fills my cup. My, live with Aaron on Mondays really fills my cup. So if you're listening and watching, we're not saying you don't need to go to therapy. We're saying you need to find somebody. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't think you're going to have to do it alone. Don't think you're the only one that's gone through it. Find somebody you trust. Find somebody to love on you, and find somebody that's going to give you open and honest feedback and fill your cup and help you. You never know. It's probably going to fill their cup too. So.
Yeah. And come join the Convene Wellness community.
And come on, join it. Yeah. Come on, join it.
Happy family. Doc, what you got?
All I'm going to say, Ron, is it was a pleasure to have you on the show and talk with you tonight, and stand your ground. You don't have to bend to peer pressure. Screw these guys. Wait, what?
I appreciate
That's the guy that's with us on Convene.
Stand strong, Navy. Stand strong.
Stand Navy out to sea. Fight our battle cry. Yeah. What you got? What you got now?
Yeah.
Hoorah, Semper Fi.
Hoorah. Hoorah. That's the only one I know. So that's the only one I know.
Hoorah.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for coming. It's been wonderful. This is, we do it every Tuesday night, 8:00. Tomorrow night, we have a podcast. That's the Convene Communities podcast. Come on, watch that. We'll be talking about some big events that we have coming up in the next month. So be a part of us. Trying to grow. All right. Thanks for being a part. We'll see you.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye, guys.